The next type of relationship that we're going to look at is a relationship that forms a step function, and that you will find on page 22 of your textbook. Whenever I talk about step functions, I will always refer to parking fees, as this is a very good example of our step function. The first thing we have to look at is to see how time is divided. Well, if we look here, the first 3 hours are free. So that is category 1, 3 hours. Thereafter, you are charged per hour slot, 4 to 5, and then 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and so on. And it increases at an hourly rate of from 4 to 5, it increases then at 5 Rand per hour, and we reach our maximum at 80 Rand, and that will be for 13 hours or more parking. Right, we need to be able to draw this on a graph. What can you say about the tariff for an hour? Well, the first 3 hours are free. Then the next hour is 8 Rand. Thereafter, we are adding 5 Rand onto that fee. Complete the sentence. The longer you park, the more you pay. Right, so let's have a look at our table over here. And so if I park, so up to 3 hours, I am going to pay nothing. And I don't have to put my Rand sign in because I've got Rands written over there. If I park for 4 hours, I am going to be paying 8 Rand. If I park for 5 hours, it will be 10 Rand. 6 hours is 15 Rand. 7 hours is 20 Rand. 8 hours, 25, 9, 30, 10 will be 35, 11 will be 40, 12 will be 45, 13 hours would be 50. Let's just go and check on our parking. So 13 hours is 50 Rand, and thereafter you are going to pay 80 Rand. So 13 hours is 50, and then from 14 to 24 is going to be 80 Rand. Right, how are we going to represent this on a graph? It is different from the others that we have seen. So if I park for up to 3 hours, I'm going to pay nothing. So my fee is going to be 0. Then if I park for 4 hours, I have got to pay 8 Rand, which is approximately here. Okay, so the minute I go over, so you would see from this 3 to 4 hours is 80 Rand. So how do we show that on the graph? Well, we've got to go from 3 to 4 hours, and that will cost you 8 Rand. But remember, if I park for 3 hours, I pay nothing. But so now I'm going to put an open dot there. If I park 3 hours and 1 minute, I have got to pay 8 Rand. If I park for 5 hours, remember that was 10 Rand. But if I park for 4 hours and 1 minute, so that will be an open dot. So for 4 hours and 1 minute up to 4 hours and 59.99, you would pay 10 Rand. 5 to 6 hours would be 15 Rand. So if I'm out of there by exactly 5 hours, I still pay the lesser tariff of 10 Rand. But any time from 4 hours and 1 second to a second before 6 hours, I'm going to pay 15 Rand. I've drawn the graph. I've completed the graph here. Right, so from this we can see the hours that I park, I'm not paying anything up to 3 hours. You will see that over here, these two are in line. 3 hours is in line, so the closed dot means that I pay the 3 hour tariff, which is 0. If I'm parked for 3 hours and 1 second, I then have to pay the 8 Rand. And this you can see goes up at a constant rate of 5 Rand an hour until we hit 13 hours. So for 13 hours, I am still going to pay 50 Rand. Thereafter, 13 hours and 1 minute or 1 second, I pay the new tariff, which is going to be 80 Rand. So 13 and a smidgen past 13, you're going to pay 80 Rand. And from yesterday, we learned that this is a constant relationship. So in other words, for any of the hours more than 13 up to 24, you are paying a constant tariff of 80 Rand. Right, let's just have a look. Why are some of the circles open and why are some of them closed? So I'm going to repeat that for you. The open circles means that you are not paying this value, but you are going to pay the one at the bottom because they are all in line. So you are going to pay 0 rands for 3 hours. You owe a fee as soon as you enter the parkade. So as soon as you go, you get your ticket, you owe a fee. I think there is a small time of grace, for example, if the parkade is full, but then you have to most probably speak to the person on the other side of the call at the parking gate. As soon as you go into the next hour, so remember I was saying 1 second past 3 hours or 13 hours or 9 hours, you pay the higher rate. The rate for the hour remains the same. So even if you are in there for 4 hours and 3 minutes, you are going to be paying your 10 Rand over here because 4 hours and 10 minutes could be about there. So you go up to the line across and you would pay 10 Rand. And remember, that is where you put your label if you're asked to show where you took your reading on the graph. The next relationship is a relationship with no obvious pattern or formula. So it's very difficult to see the pattern without drawing the graph. So for this, we are going to talk about a loan repayment. People borrow money from a bank to buy a specific expensive item. The most used loan is the home loan. And this is called a loan, or you can have a personal loan. The bank charges interest on the remaining amount of money borrowed. So let's have a look at this table. So in month 0, so this will tell us that this was obviously a personal loan because it's 20,000 and houses cost much more than 20,000. So this is a personal loan of 20,000. The person makes a payment. Now you can see all the payments are the same. But you will see that the interest differs each month. So from month 1, you paid 1,350 Rand interest. In month 2, you paid 1,335, which is less than the previous month. So from this, you can see that the interest that you have to pay, remember, interest is an amount, decreases until you only have to pay 99.37 in the 30th month. From this table, we can also see that this loan was for 30 months. How many years is 30 months? Well, you say 30 divided by 12. 12 twos are 24. So 24, so it's going to be 2 years, 24, and 6 months. So that is the life of the loan. And you will see how it is calculated. You will find your interest on you. So you take your 20,000, you subtract your repayment, you calculate the interest, subtract it from the 20,000, and then in the next month you owe 19,000 until it reduces to 0. Then the loan is paid off. Now looking at this table, the only pattern that we can see basically is that the payment is the same. These decrease at different values. These decrease at a different rate. So from this, we cannot see that there is any pattern. So therefore, we now need to draw a graph. By looking at the graph, okay, there we go. It is far easier to see what is happening. So we borrowed 20,000. This is a loan, which means you borrowed money. It started off 0 months. So at the start, you borrowed 20,000 Rand. Over here, if I get to my 30, I owe 0. So that means I have cancelled my loan. Right, let me just rub that out. And I want to show you something quite important here. If it is 30 months, the loan is for 30 months. Halfway would be 15 months. So this would be half the life of your loan. So if I go and I check my value at half the life of the loan, I've basically only paid back about 6,000 Rand, because owing is just more than 14,000. So this shows you the more you pay off, the quicker your loan will be reduced. So how can we explain this? Well, at first it decreases slowly, and then it gets to the last part of the loan and it decreases at a rapid rate. So this shows the balance that is owing after each of these months. Right, the amount decreased slowly at first, we've seen. The decrease, it decreases more rapidly towards the end of the loan, or the end of the loan life. And how can we improve our owing on the loan? Buyers or borrowers should increase the amount of money paid back at the beginning of the loan to force the total to decrease more quickly. Using a graph helps you to see the situation in order to make informed and wise decisions. Please will you do exercise 3 on page 24.